Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, and today we are reviewing a new movie. And what was the name of the movie, Marco? Could you tell them?
Well, they said it twice in the movie, so I don't know how you couldn't remember.
I'm cold and I'm brain dead when I'm cold.
Presence. Movie is called Presence, and this is Safi's
inspiring title.
Yeah, and this is Safi's second. This is Safi's second movie. If I can ever get through that sentence, this is Safi's second movie of 2025, and it is my third movie. And once again, we are going through the thing where every new release movie is worse than the last, because Wallace and Gromit I did not like. Safi liked it for some reason. And then the Wolfman, I did not like, and I did not like it as much as Wallace and Gromit.
I haven't seen that one, and I really do want to see it.
I didn't think it was bad, though. I mean, I didn't think it was terrible. Like, I could watch it again, definitely, the Wolfman.
That's good.
But then again, I have a fondness for those types of movies, for, like, monster movies and horror movies, so it would have to be really bad for me to just really, really dislike it. And then the Presence, not The Presence, it's just Presence.
I don't like the title at all.
It is really, really bad.
I don't know what they could say, what they could call it, but I mean, they got paid a lot of money to make the movie, and it's a lot compared to what we have to do a shoestring budget movie, and they could have come up with a better title than that.
Yeah.
I mean, it does apply.
It's
not. It just doesn't grab you. It's very.
This is like my second, and Safi needs to think of her food review.
I know what it is.
Oh, that changed real fast. But this is my second Steven Soderbergh movie. I've never really seen many movies of his.
What other has he done?
What?
What other movies has he done?
Well, the only other movie that I've seen was a movie where the whole concept was that it was shot all on an iPhone, which is not a really interesting concept anymore, because there's movies that are shooting on an iPhone like mine. And so, like, that was the whole premise of that movie, and that movie was very boring, uninspired, not very good. But the thing about that movie was that it had a plot, and it had characters, and it did have some creepy moments. Whereas this movie has nothing. This movie is like the definition of a nothing burger. But the thing is that it had a great concept of let's have an entire movie from the perspective of an entity, a ghost, a spirit, a demon. That sounds really, really cool. And just thinking in all the different ways that you could, like, do that premise. Like, even, Safi could probably think about, the house that we used to live in. Like, just imagine if you had, like, the story of, like, ghosts from different time periods and just have all this supernatural stuff. It would be like a completely different world where, like, you'd see, like, the supernatural world, and it could be basically like Black Lodge from Twin Peaks, the movie. Like, the whole movie's in the Black Lodge. But, like, instead of that, they decided to just do the most safe, bland, uninspired movie. So I guess Steven Soderbergh just, he gets good concepts, and he just makes boring movies like this and the other movie that I saw. Because, like, this movie, I did not like it at all. The whole movie reminded me more of, like, they have the camera, like, following people around the whole movie, and, like, it's constantly moving and constantly in wide shots. To be honest, it didn't remind me of, like, what if an entity is the main character of a movie. It reminded me of those movies that are all one shot. Like Rope, which Safi and I reviewed back in 2018. That was
really good. I really liked that.
But that was a great movie.
That was cool.
That actually had a story and characters. This movie didn't. But it reminded me so much of that, of like, this is all one take. We're just moving the camera around. We're going from here to there and here to there. But then they would cut, though.
But every room was perfect.
Yeah.
The colors, the decor,
yeah,
everything was perfect and neat, and nothing was out of place.
Yeah.
And you're looking at it in the eyes of, and I would never have known. I don't know. Marco already knew about this before the movie started, so he told me. So if you've got that in your brain, and you're watching the movie, okay, so you're a presence, so you're looking out at your eyes and at the room. So what killed me about this, though, because I don't know anything about the shots, the different shots, how they're done. I don't know anything about that except from what I've seen in my son's shoestring budget movie.
God, Safi.
You have a shot of a room, and you might have it was the daughter's room, and she's depressed, and maybe because her two friends died. One was of a drug overdose, and I don't know if the other one had a drug overdose. I didn't hear it, but anyway. So they moved from somewhere, and this happened. They moved to this new house. It's a family with a daughter, a son, and two parents.
We'll talk about the parents, too, coming up.
Every time, so they have the scene, and the girl's depressed. So at the end of the scene, it completely blacks out.
Yeah, it cuts, though. It's like a cut.
I don't know what it's called, but I mean,
that's a cut.
They did this all throughout the movie.
It doesn't matter if you cut to black. It's still a cut. It's still a breakup, a break in time. And I think that the big disappointment... Safi?
Sorry.
You need to leave?
No.
And go take a time out? Why don't you go hang out with the entities in the other room?
Come on.
Okay.
We did that at our old house.
Well, we'll probably do that here, too. But anyways, the big disappointment was that they didn't do anything interesting with this concept. Anything. Like, it was so... It's like, what were they thinking? Like, it was just like, oh, look, there's a camera, it's pointing at a room, and it's going around following people. It's like, there's nothing interesting about that. And you'd think, and I wrote a couple of notes, you'd think, like, okay, can this entity, like, is this entity a character? No, basically not at all. It can't go through walls or doors, which makes it really, really lame. I mean, that's like one of the... And I just think it's because they couldn't figure out how to do that technically, right?
It makes no sense.
They couldn't figure out how to do that.
They did. So what's the story?
Well, I was thinking all that you'd have to do is just have a shot of the wall and then have a shot of the other room and then just dissolve from the shot of the wall to the shot of the room, and it would be like you went through the wall. I mean, that's all you'd have to fucking do. And then there's the fact that, like, there's so many shots that just feel like these are movie choice shots. Like, these are cinematic choices for, like, what a scene should look like, whereas it didn't really feel like, okay, what if this was actually in the perspective of an entity? There was nothing interesting that they did with the entity itself. Like, it never really, like, there's never any part of the movie where the entity just, like, stands in a corner and stares at the ground. Like, there's no creepy moments. There's nothing like that in this movie. It's just, oh, I'm just this perspective following around this family as they navigate this really boring drama that's like a high school play that I fell asleep in 10th grade.
It's like a play.
Yeah.
It really, yeah. That never not thought about that, but it really is like a play. I've been in a few plays, so I know what that's like. Yeah, that is like a play.
I've been in some plays.
Well, it's supposed to be a movie.
Yeah.
And the thing is that haven't they ever seen the movie Ghost? I mean, my God.
Well, I was thinking about...
I'm sure there's a multitude of movies.
There's been a lot of ghost movies, a lot of supernatural movies, but none of them really from the perspective of a ghost, except for, I guess, Ghost.
That's true. But still, they could show, like you said, it looked like the way they had it, the ghost could not go through the walls or the doors.
I don't know. I don't know what the ghost was. The ghost didn't even need to be in the movie.
We didn't even see the ghost.
Yeah,
we never saw it.
The ghost was
not at all.
The ghost was completely unimportant to the movie. I mean, I don't care. Like, if you wanted to make it creepy and real, you can still do that while making the ghost into a character. I mean, there's no character to this ghost, and there's so many inconsistencies with like what it can do, what it can't do. Like early on in the movie, it does this weird thing where it takes all this girl's books off of the bed, and it stacks them neatly on the desk like it really likes her.
On the floor. That's what I was expecting.
But then later on in the movie, when a certain character needs help, the ghost is just completely powerless and can't do anything besides notify another character. And so there's just so many inconsistencies, and there's just nothing creative that they did. I feel like people who make these movies, they need to start being more creative and just stop playing everything so safe and saying, oh, well, we have money, so our movie looks like a real movie, and that's all we have to do. It's like, no, that's not all you have to do. You actually have to put some creativity in it. You have to make it like they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything, though. Anything.
Well, they did one thing.
David Lynch would have said this movie's a piece of shit. I mean, could you imagine if David Lynch made this movie, the types of things that he would have done? I mean, it would have been amazing. Right?
The one thing they did, which was really odd, I mean, I first heard it. Now Marco just talked about the one thing where she had her books she was studying. So the books were out. There was like 2 or 3 books out on the bed, and I opened her notebook, and then there was some other thing. I don't know what it was. It was some kind of pack, like a cloth pack or something. And the ghost takes each one separately and puts it in a neat pile on her desk. It's off her bed. But when the ghost is like in a dilemma of some kind, because it was doing these things where the daughter knew, her name was Chloe, she knew that there's a presence in the house. She could feel it. And because, well, it got mad.
I could feel it too. It was the cameraman.
Stuff in the closet come off in the closet. She had a whole huge closet, and lined up on the top closet, on the top shelf, was all the stuff in neat piles, and it all flew off, and the shelf flew off the wall, and so then it did a couple things like that, but only a couple.
Never again.
But the thing it did it twice or 3 times.
When it turned into sonar.
It turned into Tyrannosaurus Rex from Jurassic Park. Remember the very first one they ever did? And the kids are in the car.
Yeah.
And they're kind of falling asleep. And then you hear this boom, boom. But it gets louder and louder.
It's like sonar.
And you see they have a little glass of water. It's up on the hood of not the hood.
Stop talking about Jurassic Park, because that's
what it was. It sounded just like that. Like, well, how is the ghost doing that? Because
that's a good movie.
See the ghost.
Yeah.
So we don't even know what it is.
They did say something about how the ghost was here because it needed to do something. And there was never really any other explanation of what it was, where it came from, or anything, but the thing that it needed to do was notify the brother at the end to save his sister. Spoiler alert. Even though there's basically nothing that happened in this movie. That's basically what the ghost had to do before it moved on. And then at the end of the movie, we see that the brother, who's now dead, he is the new ghost in the house. So I just thought, like, wow, that was dumb. that was not
Should
worth
we
it.
tell them? Spoiler alert! Should we tell them what the bad thing is?
Well, why don't you? Let's not jump to the end. Let's talk
Okay.
about the other stuff in the movie, like
Okay,
the parents.
First let's talk about the parents.
Ooh,
They had absolutely no chemistry.
yeah.
It was this random. I don't know the actor.
Well, I want to talk about the dad because I don't know if Safi knows about the Delphi, Indiana murders.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay, that figures.
Is that a family?
No,
Mm.
but the guy who they convicted, which it's debatable if he was the only one who committed the crime or if he even did anything at all. He looks exactly like this actor,
Oh, really?
Richard Allen, who was recently just convicted and,
This is something recent?
probably wrongfully convicted too. And
Yeah, it could be.
he looks exactly like the dad. So the whole movie, all I could think about was like, wow, we're watching a movie with the Delphi quote unquote killer's the father. So I thought that was weird. That like kind of took me, and also he was a really bad actor. He had quite a few terrible lines throughout the movie. There was one line where Tyler is questioning whether or not there are ghosts in the house, and he says, "There is mystery in this world, Tyler." There's another part where he says, "There's a great man inside of you, Tyler. I can't wait to see him someday." So, yeah. He was really bad, though. Safi, talk more about the parents.
The mother is the, God, is she Chinese? She's an Asian girl from Charlie's Angels. Remember the one with Drew Barrymore and
The good one.
we've watched it a million times. She was the Asian girl in it, and I wasn't sure if it was her. She's older now, and she had her hair cut. It was long in that movie, the other movie, and she was younger. But anyway, they had absolutely no chemistry, and it drove me nuts because I was talking to Marco, and I've watched a few Hallmark movies at Christmas. I watch them for a little while to see if it's unusual and I'm interested in it. So anyway, they'll have Hallmark movies, and they may not be, they're kind of formulaic or something, but the chemistry and the actors are so good that you think that maybe in real life they're a real couple because they're just they fit so well together. And those are just kind of, those are like bomb movies. You have some candy or cookies or hot chocolate or something, and that's the kind of movies they are. I mean, they're just not there's not a lot of substance to it. It's formulaic, it's a romance and blah blah blah. Anyway, this couple, they had absolutely zero chemistry. They had 2 children together, and they're both teenagers, and they're almost like, they're probably sophomores, juniors, seniors. They're up there. They're older, and and I just didn't even know how they had 2 kids, because they had no chemistry. Even if they'd been younger and together as a young couple, and they'd been together for 30 years or something, I don't see it. I just couldn't see it, and that bugged me.
Yeah.
I can't help it. And we've seen this. If you're a parent and you know people, obviously the son was the mother's favorite, and the daughter was the father's favorite.
I thought
at least that's very basic.
The mom was hardly in the movie,
Yeah.
and I felt like she was kind of underutilized because of how important the brother is to the end of it. I thought that she was really underutilized, and he was underutilized. The movie was mainly about the sister and the father.
Right.
And the father was terrible. He was so bad at acting. He didn't know how to say like a single line. And I'm not trying to be mean, but it's just like, this is a movie. and the way that he said his lines, it was like constantly like, I have to overemphasize everything.
Yeah,
Like, that's how he talked.
And I hate to criticize too, but I just, you have all these negatives about it, and and you have kind of a good, like Marco, a good concept.
The movie's
It's
so
unusual.
boring.
Well, it's just there's nothing to it. It's
Except
like
for
every shot, every little scene, they have a scene, and it's like a play.
Yeah.
The curtain goes down. Well, they don't show a curtain going down, but I mean, they put it into black, and then they come to another scene, and then they do something in it, and it turns to black, and they're every single scene, and all the rooms. So you're looking at the perspective of the ghost who's there, who can't walk through doors, can't walk through walls, and it can make a sound like a T-Rex. And also tear up people's shelves and pull stuff off the walls. But anyway, so every room is perfect. And the colors, they're all coordinated. And what's really interesting is that at the very beginning, and I don't know, this was supposed to help you know about the quote presence, because a painter came in and the girls' room, it was painted blue. And so this painter came, and he had another painter with him, another couple. They wouldn't go in the room because they were afraid. They could feel something was there, and they wouldn't go in there. And so this room was blue. You didn't know whose room it was going to be. And then the girl settles into that blue room. So you knew all the action, which was the weird action, was going to take place in that room, because that's where the presence was. So you knew by the color, because all the rooms were painted a real pretty green and a kind of a orange pink, and every room had a different color. And then, like I said, they were very impeccably decorated.
Unsurprisingly, modern Hollywood, this movie, the real villain is not the entity. The real villain is a straight white male. And that was very, very predictable.
Yeah, but...
Safi, talk about this weird plot that didn't even make any sense.
Well, no, I think there's more to it. Maybe. The thing is, remember when we said the daughter has two friends who died? And I don't know, I guess they didn't move from another, I don't know where they moved from.
I don't know.
I have no clue. See, that would have been helpful if they just would have, like I said, they really sparse on the detail. And you have to come up with it on your own.
God.
But,
Safi.
This guy, what happened is, the boy, but they're new to the school they go to. They're new to the neighborhood. The house is new. They've moved from somewhere else. We don't know where. I assumed it was from another state. But then I'm thinking, no, they've just moved to a different school district within the area, probably. But, here I am, putting my own story in. So anyway, the boy makes a new friend.
Brock Turner.
And
Whoops.
he comes in, and you find out it's very important to the brother that he's friends with this guy, because this guy's real popular or gets around, or I don't know, something's really great about him. So he gets really mad. He doesn't want anybody to interfere, like his sister's problems. Like, she's been depressed because her friend overdosed on drugs.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, apparently this guy is a serial killer. But we don't know that. But, and this is what happens. So it doesn't pop up. Well, you see him, he tried to drug her. You saw him put some powder, and I'm thinking he's putting in GHB or whatever, which I don't think he needed to do. They were going to have sex anyway. That's why I didn't get that.
That was something that I had a big problem with in that movie made by Zoe Kravitz, was that, like, the whole concept of the movie was that these guys who all of these girls were their girlfriends, like, that after hours they would drug them and rape them even though they were already having sex with them. It made no sense at all. And it wasn't even a thing like in that movie where, like, they would sleep with each other's girlfriends. It was like, no, like, they all just raped their own girlfriends, which is, like, really, really bizarre. And it's the same with this movie. That's why I was like, okay, what's his angle? Like, what is his deal? And you know what it really reminded me of, though? It reminded me of Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves. That last 20 minutes.
Well, anyway, the first time he does
Remember that?
No. The first time he does it, he puts the powder in there. Because, see, that's her brother's friend, but they're close. They become like girlfriend, boyfriend, and he listens to her talk about, and she cries. She hasn't been able to express any emotion about her friend passing away. And anyway, so he puts this powder in their drink, and she starts to drink it, and the entity or the presence knocks it off of the table, and it spills all over the floor.
But for some reason, later on in the movie, when she's more vulnerable because her parents aren't home and her brother's drugged, the ghost for some reason is not able to knock the glass out of her hands.
No.
And then, it just, I don't know what they were thinking with this movie. It was supposed to be a supernatural horror movie, and instead we got Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves mixed with nothing.
Well, just so anyway.
With the Delphi killer as the dad. And I swear he needs to play that. I want Safi to look him up too.
Alright.
I want Safi to look up Richard Allen and not tell me he looks exactly like him, and that they should make a movie with him as him. Guaranteed. Billions of dollars.
Okay. Anyway, I'm trying to think. So anyway, at the end, this boy, he's a serial killer.
Yeah.
He knocks her out. He's knocked the brother out. He mixed in the powder into his drink, and then he did it to her, and they're up in the bedroom. Now, he's not wanting to have sex with her. He's wanting to kill her.
Yeah.
And he's got, like, plastic, when they, you've seen in different movies where they put a plastic bag on somebody's head. Well, this was like saran wrap, and he's going to put it over her, just a little tiny piece over her nose and her mouth.
Yeah.
While she's knocked out. And then he said, I'm going to, and he makes this big speech, whatever, not important to me, but anyway, but he mentions in the speech, I'm going to do to you just like I did to the other two. And I'm wondering, and one of them had overdosed, and I wondered, did he kill those other two people?
I guess so.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
I don't know.
Because he said it a couple times. It's important.
I was really uninterested, because I was like, this is not the movie I wanted to watch.
Oh, well, I just didn't know what to expect. That's the thing. I think if you have expectations, it's worse. But I know it should be better than what it is.
This movie was terrible.
I agree, but
it was really bad. I've seen movies where it wasn't like what I expected, and then I liked them. This isn't one of those times. It was really poorly done. It was really badly done.
But he keeps doing it over and over. He has this little, like a pen. It's like a a special ballpoint pen, or, like a camera pen. It's real thick. And he opens it up. He takes this little piece of plastic, a little tiny strip. It's about, God, I don't know, maybe 6 inches long and a couple inches wide. And he keeps putting it over her mouth and her nose over and over. He takes it off, puts it on, takes it off. And you see her breathing in it, like she's trying to catch her breath. She's completely out. And you see this presence. The presence goes down to the brother and pretends like it's T-Rex. And it, I don't know what it does, blows or something.
That's why I said it was like sonar. It was like, boo, boo.
Yeah, it was like that.
And the screen would shake. I was like, that's like sonar. It's like in the fucking Dark Knight when when they set up the sonar at the end or whatever, and he's surveilling the Joker and everything. That's what it was like. It was like really bizarre.
And so he says her name and he runs upstairs. And now this is the part I don't get. I missed it because I was in the kitchen when the thing, and nothing much had happened the whole movie. And then you get to this part, and it just kind of comes and goes. So, I mean, if you miss it, that's it. So, anyway.
The one thing I liked, which I didn't really like it at all, but the one thing I liked was that the movie had a negative ending. Because I thought, I expected a negative ending in like a movie like this. Like a scary movie, a creepy movie. So that's fine. But like other than that, this movie was awful. It was terrible. I'm trying to think if there's any other bad words to describe it.
But the thing is, the kid, the brother comes running up down the stairs. He says, "Leave my sister alone." But now he keeps putting this plastic on and off her face, and somehow the brother's gotten up there where the plastic isn't on her face. It just happens to not be on her face.
Yeah.
And he grabs them, and they both fall out the window. They both go out the window. And you know what? The brother, throughout the movie, he had a disdain for his sister. He said she spoiled the last place they lived because her friend died, and
that doesn't mean he would let her get murdered or raped.
No, he wouldn't do that. But I mean, he when she said that, I feel there's a presence in the house, I can just feel it, and he put her down, and they had this. They had a person, a psychic, come in.
That was another thing I wanted to mention was like, they had to make it so that the psychic was the sister of the real estate agent, and I thought, how simple would it have been to just say, we found a psychic? Like, it really did not have to be the real estate agent's sister.
Oh. Yeah.
Right? Like, that was so convenient and stupid.
I didn't
unnecessary.
Hear that.
Well, it's stupid.
I just, because she wouldn't go into the house at first, and then she notices the mirror. Because they have an old mirror. It's an old house, but it's really fixed up really nicely. And in fact, you wouldn't have known it was that, quote, old. Whatever old means. Anyway.
This is a movie that needs to be remade.
But the brother dies. The sister doesn't. And, but anyway, but my thought was, and it's never brought out, that the boy, the killer, said it twice. I killed those others. And he said those two, and then he said two others, and he said like 2 or 3 times. And I'm thinking, is he the one that killed her friends? And maybe the presence in the house is one of them?
No, Safi.
No, you don't think so?
The presence was there because it was meant to be there to save the sister from that guy.
Okay.
Which is really stupid, if you think about it. It's like, so you're saying someone could die, and then their whole purpose in the afterlife is to save someone else before they can move on. Like, that's really, really dumb.
Well, that's kind of what's happened.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
When?
I've seen a few of those
When?
movies.
Oh.
Lifetime movies, whatever. I've seen a couple of them like that. In fact, I just saw one. I've seen it like 3 or 4 times.
I think a better movie with a ghost as the main character is all the Casper movies, frankly. Like, those are better than this. This is just, it was a wasted opportunity. And I think that...
it was.
Yeah.
And that's a shame.
You could easily make a great movie with this concept. Do lots of experimentation. Make it like David Lynchian. But instead, they just wanted to make like a play.
I don't like this. I don't like it, where each scene is separate from the next. We just saw another movie called Reagan, and it wasn't as extreme.
No, you did, Safi.
Okay, well, it wasn't as extreme as that, where they have one scene and then they close it up, and then they pop open another scene, close it up. But they did do the same thing.
It's like a
without
scrapbook.
doing that.
It's like a scrapbook.
Yeah, I didn't like that either, because there was no... maybe it would have made it too long.
Well,
but they could have done it sometimes,
Well,
but they didn't.
The thing that I think they could have done, and I know that they could have easily done this because they had the money, they had the time, they had the equipment. Put the camera in a corner of the room and just do a time lapse of the entire night. That's all you had to do. Time lapses. They did that in Paranormal Activity. They showed the camera at night of the couple in bed. And guess what, guys? Paranormal Activity was a better movie than this movie.
I don't know. I've never seen it.
I think actually Paranormal Activity was okay.
Well,
Safi.
Anyway, so...
What's your food review of this crappy movie?
Well, my food review is very simple.
What?
Because it was a very simple movie. Is a glass of orange juice.
Oh, God.
Because guess what?
But that's good, though.
The killer put the powder in, for some reason, he picked orange juice only. That's it. Every time he put the powder in there, even for the brother, he put in a glass of orange juice. And then he proceeded to have some too, but he didn't have it with the powder in it. Because at first, when he was doing that, I thought he was having drugs. I didn't know what it was. Well, I thought it was GHB. Well, with the brother too. I don't know. Well, it just... I just couldn't believe it. And you see, because you don't know it until he does it to the brother. And then he goes upstairs and she's knocked out.
I think
because you don't know what you didn't know all that time, and you're talking about an entire movie. This is at the end, the last, like Marco said, maybe 20 minutes, 15 minutes. You don't know. He's wanted to do this so he can kill her.
I think that the orange juice is actually stupider than the haunted kombucha from Goosebumps.
I don't know.
What do you think?
Yeah.
The haunted kombucha or the drugged orange juice?
Well, at least in that movie or that show, they did not have a scene and cut it. A scene, then cut it. A scene over and over and over until even to the very end they did this.
I read someone's script and they did that exact same thing where after every single scene they would cut to black. And I was like, that's a trailer. That's what they do in a trailer. Even in trailers, though, things connect. So it's like, but see, I think they were just so uncreative that they just couldn't think outside the box. Couldn't think about, what could we do to make this creepy and to make it fit with the movie, to transition scenes? Let's have the ghost go to the bathroom and stare at itself in the mirror for 24 hours and then cut to the next scene. Like, you could do simple things like that. Nope, can't do that. No creativity in Hollywood, just AI and sex police. That's what they have to offer now.
I hope not, because that AI is
innovations.
Not as good. And they've been doing some weird stuff with it. The person who took office wrote executive orders using AI, and they're barely legible. And,
Safi,
well, I know that, but
Safi,
AI, I thought AI was supposed to be perfect.
No, no.
And I guess I misunderstood. I mean, I've seen some of the photographic...
AI is like basically taking other things that already exist and putting them together. Kind of like in Willy Wonka, where he sends the chocolate bar over the TV. Like it's essentially that, but with other people's work. So it's like plagiarism, basically.
Well, I guess I misunderstood.
No.
For some reason, I thought AI was supposed to be perfect.
No, it's terrible.
And I've seen, they've shown on YouTube like images, like photographic images of wording and pictures where it's part of the image is totally screwed up and looks stupid because, let's say they gave the person 2 right ears or something. That's
AI. That's AI.
And I'm like, and you could see that they pointed out, and so I don't know. I just, but so that's what I say. I hope they're not going to start resorting to using more of that because it doesn't look good.
They are. They think that
it doesn't work.
That's what's so funny about all these people who they act like Hollywood is so great and it's just so perfect, but it's like, in reality, the people in Hollywood, all they do is just ride on trends. And ride on, like, the trends of, like, oh, AI is popular, so let's use AI, even though it sucks.
Well, but they'll find out real easily.
That's why Heretic, even though Heretic wasn't very good, the people who made that movie put a statement in the ending credits that said, we didn't use AI.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
That was like a big middle finger to Hollywood.
So anyway, my food review was just orange juice because it was so important to this serial killer to use orange juice. And to me, eventually he would have gotten caught because that's just like a calling card.
Yeah, he's got his fingerprints on the glass, too.
Yeah, I mean, really, how many can you get? And he would have been able, and they probably would have tied him into all those other things eventually. Too. Like I'm saying, he was really the stupidest serial killer on the planet. Okay, so anyway, Marco, what is your food review of this movie?
As I said earlier, this is a nothing burger movie, so I give this a nothing burger, which means
what?
A pair of buns without anything in between them.
Nah.
The buns are the concept, and the nothing is what the people in Hollywood did with the concept. So, suck on that, Hollywood.
And what I'll just say too that the psychic or whatever you want to call her, she came back on her own, and she said, "I keep seeing this vision of a window that can't be open." That's what I thought she said.
Yeah.
But then the window was open, which makes me wonder if the presence opened the window.
Yeah.
And then they both went out. So, fell out of the window.
I don't know, man. If you pushed someone against a window, broke the glass,
But it didn't break. It wasn't broken.
You could easily slash their neck and they would die from blood loss. Easily.
Oh yeah, sure. If you get any kind of wound near an artery, you're going to lose your. That's why when they have shootings and other things, that they've got to get them help immediately because they can lose all their blood in 2 seconds. I mean, it doesn't take very long at all. They call it bleeding out, and that means they're going to die because they can only lose so much blood. So anyway, I don't know. It's too bad. And it was a nice distraction.
Really?
Well, it was
really
better than listening to some of the stuff I have to listen to when the other person watches television and of things that I don't want to watch or listen to.
Well, Safi has one last new release movie. She still hasn't finished ranking her old releases because she's like really.
I started.
She's really dragging the channel, but that's a Safi thing to do.
So. And if you know me, if you've listened to the channel for a while, I know we've gotten lots of new subscribers. I don't like ranking, and I think I have 40-something movies to rank. Now these are movies.
Well, Safi, I had over 100, and I did it just fine.
Marco loves to do it because Gen Z people
love
ranking.
I don't like ranking a lot of things because it gets really hard, like all the stuff in the middle of like where to put it, and it ends up just being like, oh, okay, everything in the middle doesn't really matter, and what really matters is just the top and bottom 10. That's basically what ends up happening every time.
It seems like, it seems so. So anyway, I noticed that sports people, Colin Cowherd, Nick Wright, those people, they like ranking. Thanks.
So does Marco.
Anyway,
I just mentioned myself in the third person.
None of them are Gen Zs. So
Safi, don't forget your Pepsi.
They're sports people.
Safi,
so that's it. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and become one of our subscribers.
Safi likes Pepsi. She used to drink Diet Coke all the time, but
No,
then...
I've never drunk Diet Coke.
Oh,
ever.
yeah. Safi used to love drinking Diet Coke.
No, Marco, I never did.
Every time we went to the store on Saturday, we would have to get a pack of Diet Coke for her.
Somebody else
But then,
got that.
but then she got sick, and she decided Diet Coke is really bad, so she doesn't drink Diet Coke anymore.
I don't drink a diet anything because it's not good for you. It's not good for you to drink soda, really, very much.
I have one a month.
I kind of stretch it out. I'll get one, and I stretch it out for several days. So I'll take a few sips of it because it's they've been a lot of. This is a new one. This is Pepsi. Wait a minute, I can't see it. Pepsi is wild cherry and cream. So it's different. It's new. So they've had a lot of new drinks, and there's also another one I just got. Was that a Pepsi or was that what was that?
Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper.
Blackberry.
And
I thought it was awesome. I'd give that an A+.
That was really good.
I would highly recommend Dr. Pepper Blackberry.
Yeah, so that's another thing. So they've been coming out with, and I think that's good to change it up and not just to have the same old. So anyway, that's it. So goodbye, everybody.
Bye.